Hi, how are you? Freelancer has a lot of guns, but it also has a decent assortment of missiles. For this challenge, as the title suggests, we'll be focusing on missiles only. The reason why this is challenging is because guns in Freelancer use energy, which automatically renews itself over time. All you have to do is stop shooting for a bit. Missiles, on the other hand, have a limited ammo capacity. Specifically, they have a maximum of 50 rounds per missile type. This means, for instance, if we had 2 Javelin missile launchers on our ship, they would both be pulling from the same pool of 50 rounds. This will run us out of ammo very quickly. So what we'll be doing in this run is aiming to have a different missile type on every weapon hardpoint of our ship. Then we'll just kind of cycle through them depending on what scenario we find ourselves in. Speaking of missile types, we essentially have 3 families of them, and we're going to be using a combination of all of them in this run. We have the regular standard missiles, which are very slow moving, but they deal a high amount of hull damage. They also home in very slightly on their target. Next up, we have the Stalker family of missiles, which are very fast moving. They deal a moderate amount of hull damage, and they home in really well. Essentially, regular missiles are good for close range, whereas Stalkers are good for long range. Lastly, we have the EMP family, which is very fast moving, maybe faster than the Stalkers, I'm not sure. They feel faster. They deal a high amount of shield damage specifically. They do a little bit to hulls, but not much, and they also home in really well. Now, there are also torpedoes in the game, but I've ruled them out for this run because they deal an insane amount of hull damage, and that insane amount of damage is the reason why I don't want to use them, because it feels like it would just be completely unbalanced when compared to the other missile types in the game. Now, it's important to remember that Freelancer's equipment is class-based. Classes range from 1 all the way up to 10, and the highest class that you can carry depends entirely on your ship. For instance, the starter ship has 3 hardpoints. 2 of those can carry weapons up to class 2, and the third one can carry weapons up to class 3. So in order to get more powerful missiles on our ship, we'll need to level up and get better ships. Speaking of ships, 3 hardpoints isn't going to be enough for this run, so we'll be looking specifically to buy heavy fighters, not light fighters or freighters. The reason being, heavy fighters typically have more gun/missile hardpoints than the other 2 families of ships, and since we'll need as many different types of launchers as possible, heavy fighters just make the most sense. Now, I also want to mention that Freelancer was released way back in 2003. Because of this, the graphics haven't exactly aged the best. They're not terrible or anything, but they're not amazing either. However, thanks to the game's brilliant modding community, we have the HD Edition mod. All of the footage in this video was recorded with HD Edition installed. Now, it's also worth mentioning that the HD mod comes with a lot of options when you install it if you choose a custom installation. Some of these options break a few of the vanilla game concepts and rules. One of these options is level locked content. Now in the base game, you have to be a certain level before you can buy, a specific ship, a specific piece of equipment, whatever it may be. Even if you have the credits for it, you've got to be the proper level in order to buy it. Now I left this option turned off, so we're still playing with the vanilla rules of you gotta be a certain level before you can get a certain thing. Because to be perfectly honest, without that, you'll see in the run there's a way where you can make a lot of money really easily, and if I had the level locked content turned off, I would be able to get stupidly powerful missiles way too easily. It just wouldn't be in the spirit of things. So we'll be playing with the vanilla game rules. We gotta be the right level before we can buy the thing we want to get. Now, I also will not be getting in depth with the story in this video. I actually won't be explaining it at all, just like the previous challenge video I did. I'm just going to be going mission by mission and kind of summarizing whether or not, I had issues with this, I didn't have issues, it was easy, it was hard, going over just what I did in general. If you've never played the game for yourself and you're a fan of, just like cheesy, over-the-top sci-fi action movies, the game is technically considered abandonware, which means you can technically download it for free. Just keep in mind that abandonware, both the distribution and acquisition of it, is technically a legal gray area, so just keep that in mind. But I've wasted enough time explaining things, let's get into the actual challenge. So before even launching to space, the first thing I did was sell both of the Justice MK1s that come on the Starflyer by default, as well as selling all of my shield batteries and nanobots. I then took all of that money and was able to buy one Javelin missile launcher, as well as a full stack of ammo. I was also able to buy one shield battery back. Yippee. For some reason, the guns, like the Justices, still showed in the cutscene for some reason. No idea why. I took a couple of pot shots at the order ships, but then I decided to just conserve ammo by sitting back and pretty much just watching the fight. Fast forward to the first rogue ambush, and I kind of just plinked away at the rogues with the javelins. A lot of times by doing this, I would get them down to having like one little sliver of health left, and in order to conserve ammo, I just kind of let King finish them off. In hindsight, this wasn't necessary. I could have just shot more javelins at them, but I guess that probably could have run me out of money, so whatever. After getting paid, I decided to take that money and buy an Eraser missile launcher. So now we have a regular missile launcher and an EMP missile launcher. The prison ship encounter went fine, no issues there. I ended up discovering just how amazing the Eraser Javelin combo is. I killed a rogue by running into him. Fast forward to the rogue base itself, and the weapons platforms really didn't provide much of an issue whatsoever. They just kind of took a lot of missiles to take down, but we're at the end of the mission anyway, so that doesn't really matter. One of the rogues got caught trying to launch from the base. All in all, mission 1 was pretty much a breeze. No real issues whatsoever. Before starting mission 2, I stocked up on ammo, bought a Stalker missile launcher, and scavenged the Cardamine off of the Flint shipwreck, like I always do. I rammed the wreck at first because I wasn't sure if my missiles would destroy anything on it, but then I decided to use an Eraser missile because they do very, very little hull damage. Turns out, the Eraser did just fine and didn't destroy anything. I also didn't notice how much the radiation was eating away at my hull. Before talking with Junie and King, I sold the Cardamine that I scavenged, then headed for the battleship Missouri. I sold the Starflyer and bought a Defender. Known as the best of the best, the Defender is just that. It's easily the most devastating ship that the player can get during the Liberty phase of the campaign. It's got 5 weapon slots as opposed to the Starflyer's 3, which means that we'll now be able to have 5 different missile types installed at any given time. 3 of these weapon slots are Class 3s, and 2 of them are Class 4s, which will now allow us to have even more powerful missiles at our disposal. It also has a turret mount, but we can't put a missile launcher on that, so we'll just be ignoring it. Hopping into the pilot seat of our new ride, we plot a course back to Manhattan and get the mission started. Fast forward to the Pueblo attack in Colorado, and things didn't go too poorly. Light fighters are definitely a problem for missiles. The high maneuverability of light fighters makes it easy for them to break the missile's tracking. Timing is everything for shooting at them. It was around this time when I discovered that Stalkers don't deal as much damage as I was hoping they would, so they ended up kind of just becoming a fodder missile. The first encounter with the rogues in the asteroid field wasn't too bad either. I wasted a lot of shots, but it otherwise wasn't a problem. When it came to chasing down Ashcroft, I decided to just make a beeline for him, and I took out his ship relatively quickly, tractored in the escape pod, then bugged out to conserve ammo. The Fort Bush ambush, that's funny, went fine as well, other than accidentally leaving my erasers on and wasting several shots. I bought a second Stalker and a second Javelin, so now I have 2 of each. It'll use more ammo, but I couldn't find any other launcher types nearby. I'm probably not a high enough level to buy them anyway. Pirate bases might have more, but I didn't feel like changing my entire reputation just to go looking for something that might not even be there. I scavenged a wreck, sold the loot that I got from it, and used the credits to buy a better shield, as well as a heavy thruster. Now I also got some cardamine off that wreck. And, like some kind of idiot, I accidentally sold it here on California Miner instead of selling it on Manhattan, so I just lost out on a ton of money. This will come back to bite me. On my way to meet Junie, I tried taking out the Navy assassins. It didn't go well. Look, I was tired and I wasn't paying enough attention, and the sun was in my eyes, and fast forward to Mission 3's second bit of action, and I got my first mission failed because the lead transport got blown up. I concluded that I'm taking too much time in combat by not playing aggressive enough, so I ended up playing a little differently the second time around and made it through just fine. The lead transport took some damage, mostly because my missiles missed their target and hit the transport instead, but that's not important. After docking at Willard, I bought a Wind Stalker launcher, as well as a Slingshot launcher, replacing my duplicate Stalker and Javelin launchers. I also bought another new shield, because this one was even better than the one that I just bought. As a side note, ammo is starting to get really expensive, and that's going to be a problem pretty soon. The Valkyrie encounter went great, no issues whatsoever. I restocked my ammo supply, met with Junie and Walker, then went on to the Rhineland Fleet encounter. This didn't prove to be much of a challenge. Everything went smoothly, no issues. However, one of the Liberty cruisers did get something stuck in its teeth at one point. I bought a Sweeper EMP launcher to replace the Eraser with, but I decided to hold on to the Eraser for later. Now, for those unfamiliar with the game, between the story missions you have to raise your net worth and level up once, then the next mission will start. Net worth is basically just experience, but it works a little bit differently. When you make money, your net worth increases. When you spend or otherwise lose money, your net worth decreases. Keeping this in mind, I decided to go hunt some more wrecks, and that's when it dawned on me, I might have soft-locked myself. I'm running low on cash, and I've looted all of the cardamine that I know about from all the shipwrecks here in Liberty. Cardamine is one of the easiest ways to increase your net worth because it's worth a ton of money, and by getting it from shipwrecks, you're getting something super expensive completely for free. But anyway, I have to increase my net worth in order to reach the next level and get the next story mission. If I take odd jobs, I can get some money to raise my net worth, but after every mission, I would have to restock my ammo supply, resulting in me possibly spending more money than I'd be making. This would no doubt end the run due to a lack of ammo and self-inflicted bankruptcy. So I looted a few more wrecks because I knew that they had guns on them that would be worth a few credits at least. It wasn't enough though, so I decided to do a little piracy. None of the ships that I attacked had enough valuable cargo to help me. This was also when I realized that my ammo is affecting my net worth, and after firing all of those missiles, all I managed to achieve was lowering my net worth even more. I docked at the Battleship Missouri and sold the loot that I got. It did very little to help my situation, so naturally I went to the bar. Perusing the job board, I took a job to assassinate some guy. I don't know who he was. You might see human life, but I see dollar signs. During the job, I made sure to solely focus my fire on him once he showed up. This way I would waste as few missiles as possible. This helped a little. so I decided to do it again. This time I got a job to kill some guy, and then tracked her in the top secret military documents that he stole. While on station, I remembered that I completely forgot to sell the cargo that I borrowed from those merchant ships. Selling it helped a little, but not a lot. We're inching our way back, very slowly.
Scanning. Yep, it's all here. Thanks for your invaluable service. Mission commission signing off.
Bingo.
I went and stole some H-fuel, which is always worth a lot. Then I checked the trade routes and discovered that Willard, back in California, will give us the most money for it. Let this be a lesson. Whether it's a game or real life, never get overconfident about your financial situation, because your foot might already be sinking into the mud before you even notice it's there. Since this mission is on a timer, you don't actually have to engage any of the enemies, so I decided to do the same thing that I did in the Starflyer challenge and just fly around and wait for the Unity to get exploded. There really just isn't any point to fight, since it's not a requirement to proceed with the story. It would just waste our ammo supply.
I'll meet you on the deck.
I'm sorry, you'll meet me on the what now? The Binford assault was the same as the Manhattan one, just fly around in circles and wait out the timer. The bounty hunters in Magellan require fighting, so that's exactly what I did. It went really well, no issues whatsoever. I grabbed a better shield while I was on Macton. Macton, why can I not say that? After launching into space, the Valkyrie ambush wasn't a problem either. Actually super easy. All in all, I think this is probably the easiest mission so far. I took a quick jaunt over to the battleship York above planet Waterford and bought myself a Crusader. She's an ugly duck, but has 6 missile hardpoints as opposed to the Defender's 5, has more armor, holds a higher equipment class, and is just, in general, better. After that, I made the long trip over to Sigma 13, like I always do, and scavenged all the insanely lucrative classified weapons from the wrecks there. This was the thing I was talking about earlier in the video about how there's a way to make crazy amounts of money super easy. We won't be worrying about money anymore. Also, while I was in Sigma 13, I grabbed an advanced countermeasure dropper and an advanced thruster as well. Not sure why I hadn't bought a countermeasure dropper up until now.
You mean you don't know where he is? He doesn't know where he is. Ouch.
Fast forward to the action of Mission 5, and the first Rylander ambush at Sprague went really well. My brain kept getting its wires crossed, making me push the wrong buttons for the wrong missiles, but there were no other issues than that. Just long-winded. Reaching Baxter wasn't a problem.
We've got to get out of here!
The fight afterwards went fine as well, just another long-winded one. The battleship encounter just a little bit later in Cambridge was basically the exact same thing. Long-winded, but nothing really difficult. The Stalkers have quickly become the fodder missiles, with dumbfires being the heavy hitters. This challenge is also proving to be way easier than I thought it was going to be. I sold one of those classified guns that I looted from those wrecks back in Sigma 13 in order to level up and start the next mission. After making my way to Dublin, I partook in some New Tokyo drifting.
Oh, this is getting old.
The asteroid fight with the Rhinelanders went just fine. No problems. The fight after meeting Quintain was fine as well, although one of the Rhinelanders must have accidentally pulled her e-brake or something. The second group went fine as well. Fast forward to the Rhineland agents. No issues there. No issues with the second group either. The jump gate encounter ran me out of Stalker missiles, but otherwise it went fine. I think this is the first time that I've ever managed to destroy both gunboats in Tau 31. I restocked on Shinkaku, but I ran into a reputation barrier for the Windstalkers. Couldn't restock them because of it. They literally just wouldn't sell them to me. I also bought a better shield while I was there.
Oh my god.
Looks like the whole damn Rhineland fleet.
This is the Rhineland battleship Schiller. Cut your engines and deactivate your weapons system. Prepare to be boarded.
Now, I might have been running scared from the Rhineland fleet in my Starflyer only challenge, but things are a little bit different this time around. I have a devastating arsenal of missiles at my disposal. I'm not trapped out here with the Rhineland fleet. They're trapped out here with me.
You don't want to mess with me? You want to fight? Okay, all right, that's it. I'm going to put on my ass-kicking boots. Oh, you are going to regret this day.
This is very important, because it means that we're now the level required to buy my favorite ship in the game. Something amazing, something beautiful, and perfect in every way. Otherwise known as the Serpent's Tooth, the dragon is the coalescence of form and function, blending unbeatable offensive and defensive capabilities and significant cargo space. In the hands of an experienced pilot, this ship is not so much a weapon as a force of nature. Yeah, so anyway, we have 6 missile mounts just like we did on the Crusader, but we've got more armor, more cargo space, can hold a higher class of weapons, etc. It's just better than the Crusader in pretty much every conceivable way. Not to mention, it's just gorgeous to look at. I went and bought a catapult launcher and replaced the javelin with the slingshot. You might also notice that I have a torpedo launcher. Why do I have a torpedo launcher when I ruled out torpedoes? I picked it up from somewhere. I don't remember where exactly. I probably tractored it in from something I blew up. But I figured I'd hold on to it just in case the later missions couldn't be completed with regular missiles. I would then state that I had to use torpedoes, so the run is plausible but not possible, etc. Long story short, too late. I haven't used it yet, and I don't plan on using it unless the run literally cannot be completed with regular missiles. That's the only reason it's there. I also sold some more of those classified guns to raise my net worth a bit, but for some reason it didn't go up. And I was confused about this, but I ended up piecing it together literally after the fact. Because I already tractored in the weapons, the second I tractored them in, their value was added to my net worth. So by selling them, it doesn't really do a whole lot to help me level up because it would be counting that worth twice, I think. I don't know. Net worth, despite playing this game for like 20 something years, net worth is just a complete enigma to me. I don't understand how it works. I still have to raise my net worth, however, so I took a trip back out to the Sigma systems, this time going to Sigma 17. I attacked random people along the way, trying to get my reputation with the Corsairs up to neutral. Reason being, Sigma 17 is filled to the brim with Corsairs. They're everywhere in that system. My attempts to change my reputation with them, however, didn't really work all that well. I made a pit stop on Curel, whatever. I sold some stuff that I got off of a wreck just before landing, then took off and ran into this mess, then ran away and managed to mark a mongoose. After looting it, it gave my net worth the confidence that it needed to reach the next level. Now, just real quick, I also wanted to cover something, just because I think it's cool. The Paralyzer Missile Launcher. It's a Class 10 EMP missile that deals devastating amounts of shield damage. I won't get a chance to use it in this run because I won't be a high enough level to have a ship capable of mounting it, but I just thought it was neat and wanted to show it to you. So, yeah, there you go.
You you came.
Yeah.
As far as Mission 7's concerned, I have almost nothing written for it because there's really just nothing to talk about. It went perfectly fine, didn't run out of ammo, didn't really run low on ammo. As far as the weapons platforms were concerned, I just dumped everything that I had into them for a few seconds, and that was it. The second enemy encounter went fine as well, literally no issues. I bought a Moonstalker launcher and swapped out the regular Stalker launcher for the Windstalker. I went to Hokkaido, looted a couple of wrecks, flew back to Kyoto, sold the guns that I got off of them, and leveled up. The initial patrol went fine, honestly one of the easiest times I've ever had with it. For the shield generators on the Arch, I switched on my catapult and slingshot so they would fire at the same time. This made it an absolute breeze. I've never experienced such an easy attack on the Arch. The wave of enemies afterwards was relatively simple, but ammo started to run pretty low. This really started to highlight the fear that I had about the later missions, because those in particular have you dealing with enemies and structures that have very large health pools. Before talking with Junie, I bought a slightly better shield than the one I already had. This is the point of no return in the story. Once we talk with Junie, we'll be locked into a series of events that will take us to the end of the campaign. So before we commit to that, I wanted to scout around for any better missile launchers than what we're currently using. Our damage output will be absolutely critical for these late game missions, so I want to be sure that we're doing as much damage as we possibly can. I flew to Ruiz and found exactly what I was looking for. However, they're all class 7s, and the dragon can't carry them. I molded over for a while, considering my current level and what ships would be available to me. I decided to use my copy of the official strategy guide for once, and in doing so, I discovered something amazing. Apparently, the dragon, along with many other ships, was supposed to carry much higher classes of equipment. The dragon originally was supposed to be able to carry up to class 9s. I don't know why they changed this, but it's very upsetting that they did. With the strategy guide being inaccurate to the released game, I turned to the wiki instead. I'm level 17, and there are no ships available for that level to purchase that can carry anything over a class 6. In addition, the current highest level of launchers that I have, like the Moonstalker, Catapult, Sweeper, etc., are class 5s, and the next level up in those series of weapons will be class 7. So in other words, we're stuck with what we've got. If these don't work, then according to my research, the run is completely boned. After having a quick chat with Lord Hakira and Junie, we fast forward to the Sigma 13 fleet encounter, and things went just fine. I was informed by a commenter on my previous challenge run that this encounter is not time-based like I had previously thought. Assuming I wrote this down correctly, it's actually based off of kills. The next stage gets triggered when either one battleship, 2 cruisers, or a certain number of fighters is eliminated. For some reason I decided to go for the 2 cruisers route, thinking that it would be easiest, before realizing that one of the battleships was almost dead, so I switched to helping my teammates out with that instead. I restocked my missiles while on New Berlin, then headed for Holstein. Just a cool little tidbit about the HD mod. In the vanilla game, Hans Fischer flies a Banshee light fighter, despite telling the Jump Gate fleet that he's a freighter.
This is Battleship Freya. Identify yourselves.
Freya, this is Daumann Freighter DHC 3417. We're transporting supplies to planet Holstein.
The HD mod fixes this by putting him in an actual freighter. I absolutely love this fix. Thank you to the developers, whether it's one or multiple people. Thank you for doing this. Moving on to the Brussels fight, things went perfectly fine. Swimmingly even. As far as the Nomad battleships went, I just kind of hid underneath one of them and took it out really easily. Then I moved to hide underneath another one and just kind of waited until the mission progressed. I also bonked my head on a Rhineland battleship in Hamburg. The Navy patrol inside the New York jump hole went fine. No problems with it. I know I'm sounding like a broken record with that at this point, but like literally this run is so easy, like way easier than I thought it would be. The satellite also went perfectly fine. I wasted too many missiles on it, but other than that, no issues. The jump gate encounter got a little rough in a few spots, but I made it through fine.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
After the prison station, we have a section that I believe is timed. It could also be based off of when the cruiser Phoenix gets destroyed, but I don't know for sure. I decided to engage the Navy ships anyway, just for fun. Apparently I shot at them so hard that it made the game crash. I'm still shocked that happened, because this game almost never crashes on me. Like, I literally can't remember the last time it crashed on me. After booting things back up, I decided to just fly around and wait until the next stage. After jumping back to New York, I flew around some more and just waited for the Osiris to uncloak. I rearranged my missile launchers and removed the EMP missiles. Everything that we have equipped now is focusing on straight up hull damage. The Nomads don't use shields for their ships or generators, so we won't have to worry about those anymore. I guess the Domkavash decided that their little security guards just didn't need shields, or maybe their society just developed past the need for them on their ships or something. Questions that we'll never get answers to. Fast forward to the action, and we have to take out the generators on the Nomad layer. I managed to take all of them down by just firing absolutely everything I had into them. Thankfully, I still had ammo to spare afterwards. Now, as far as the Nomad Horde and Omicron Miner is concerned, I was able to take some of them down, but near the end of the fight, I had expended all of my ammunition and just kinda had to wait for my teammates to do the rest. After a much needed resupply, I took off into the next fight. I flew around and waited for the Nomad battleship to uncloak, then went and cozied up in its blind spot and fired away. It took almost all of my regular missiles, but I managed to blow it up. I went back to flying around and waited for the second one to show up. I fired a few shots at it, but then Overland called us back to Toledo. Escorting Sinclair and Quintain went fine. Literally nothing to say about that, because there's no fighting to be had. And here we are. I honestly didn't think that we'd make it this far, but we've beaten the odds. However, this mission is easily the most concerning for this run. Reason being, there are a lot of stationary targets in this mission, and they all have big health bars. Reaching the Nomad jump gate, I head on up to the battleship, nestle myself in its blind spot, kick my feet up on the dashboard, and refuse to fire at all, instead letting my teammates do the damage for me. Inside the Nomad home system, we aren't on a timer, so I kinda just took a few pot shots here and there at the generators, allowing my teammates to deal most of the damage. Now, at a few points, I noticed my teammates had stopped firing, but I found that if I stay near the generators themselves, the rear turret of Von Clausen's ship will continue to fire at them, whittling down their health bar. So I decided to do a little New Tokyo drifting to make it more entertaining for myself.
You did it, Trent. The shield is going down.
Yes, Junie. I did it. Inside the Dyson sphere, I accidentally blew myself up. On my second attempt, I paid a little more attention and realized that there is something weird with their collision mesh or something, causing my missiles to explode in a very strange fashion. Or maybe they're colliding with each other, or my ship. Who knows. I continued to go with the tried and true ancient method of just unload everything that you have into them until they explode. And that's it. Well, that's all she wrote. It's entirely possible to beat Freelancer with just missiles, and without needing torpedoes, I might add. All in all, this run was actually super easy. I was expecting it to be a total pain, or just not possible at all. But honestly, the number of places throughout the campaign where you get to dock and restock your ammo supply makes it so easy. Like, literally, so long as you're very economic about how you're using your ammo and you rely on your teammates to do some damage here and there, it's really easy. I'd like to thank my computer-controlled teammates. Without them, I don't think this achievement would have been possible. I'd also like to thank you for watching this, and I'd also like to thank all the people that showed up to the last challenge video I did, because boy howdy, I was not expecting a turnout like that. So just thank you to everyone for that. That's it. Rambling done. Signing off.